Okay, so I'm 23 years old, soon to be 24, and my life is practically over.
Why we?
Over before it's even begun, I mean. Let me give you some context here. I just graduated from my master's program with 9 point GPA, but it's all pretty much been downhill since then. It's only been a couple of months since that I've had some time off, shall we say, to come to terms with reality. And by reality, I don't just mean the fucking pandemic that's been fucking us over, or the very frightening political landscape and escalating societal issues and environmental disasters that we've been facing worldwide. But they do all converge on a personal front, in the form of the gaping void ahead of me that is the future. So what have I done in the past months to deal with reality, you ask? I wish I could say that I've been doing my best impression of an elephant seal, basking on the beach as the sun gently warms my hide, as I laid back, relaxed, and listened to the calming sounds of the waves lapping at the shore without a care in the world. Finally enjoying some well-deserved time off after the stress of having to pass virtual examinations and turning in virtual projects last minute worth over half my grade with virtual help and advice from my virtual professors and absolutely no resources or help other than my crap internet. But safe to say that I have not been doing that. Don't get me wrong, I've definitely been doing absolutely fucking nothing either way, just that I've been doing it stressfully. I've done a lot of lying around, a lot of soaking in a vast bubbling pool of misery and self-loathing and self-pity and dread, of course. Honestly, this pool, this hot tub of turmoil, shall we call it, has always been simmering away, like in the peripheries of my consciousness or whatever. And I've been distracting myself quite well, actually, with the ever-reliable, all-consuming black hole that is the internet, with all its magical, colorful, moving images, and getting a little too consumed by drama about internet people living in their internet world. Because, you know, I'm an internet girl living in an internet world, laugh and blast. Okay. What I'm saying is that they don't technically even exist in my real life, and I've just been so absorbed by this nothingness and scrolling through what seems like an infinite screen of non-existence till my thumbs are sore, and bottom line, I didn't do fuck shit. And I felt bad about it, but apparently not bad enough to do anything to change it. I ignored this gnawing emptiness, thinking that it'll go away like all the other emotions and memories that I've always ignored and repressed. But right now, let's put it in these terms, shall we? Right now, it's got a fucking spotlight on it as it sashays in front of me in the dead center of the stage that is my life. And I can't fucking tiptoe around it anymore. I feel like a fucking failure, and I can't blame anyone but myself right now. Simply because no one else can help me but myself right now. And I am just not. I am just not helping myself. So let's circle back to why I think I'm a failure. It's not about a grade, it's not about a degree, it's not about a job or fucking... I don't even know. I mean... Granted, I'm only saying these things don't matter now after I've worked so hard to achieve it. And since I have now achieved it, I'm minimizing its value and downplaying it like, oh, anyone could have done it, yeah, it's not that big a deal. But yeah, whatever. I think I'm a failure Not in the traditional sense of the word, although that is also something to be considered, but more so in the sense that I am letting myself down. I constantly have like a list or an alarm going off in my head asking me to do the things that I supposedly want to do or claim I like doing or know that I am good at or will be successful at or will make me happy or whatever the fuck. But I just keep hitting snooze. And I've been hitting snooze for nearly a decade now, and time's run out. Or at least that's what it feels like. Like I've never actually lived for me to say, oh, life is over. And I'm just getting older and older, and all I'm doing is getting better at making excuses. Okay, so at this point it is très possible that I'm being a tad bit dramatic, but the essence and spirit of what I am trying to say remains. The point is, it feels like there's no more tomorrow left for me to put it off to. Like, how long am I gonna keep saying tomorrow? Especially now in these unprecedented times. I mean, really? Following your dreams in this economy? My dreams or goals or whatever now just seem like fantasies. Because that's what they're called, no? When you put no effort towards attaining them and still think that, oh, it'll happen eventually if it's meant to be. Like, no, bitch. You gotta actually do some fuck shit for stuff to happen. So I think the problem here essentially is that I don't have any self-discipline. Or rather, I have the self-discipline of a snail. Whatever that means. I have watched every fucking YouTube video on fucking productivity and science of motivation and setting a routine and sticking to it and starting small and respecting yourself enough to keep promises to yourself and quitting social media to not have distractions, writing down lists and goals and mission boards and all the fucking shit. And guess what I'm still not doing? I have literally tried like all of the hacks. I've tried the, keep your alarm far away so you have to get out of bed to turn it off. And you know what I do? Because I'm just clairvoyant enough to know how to fuck up effectively, I wake up seconds before the alarm even goes off. And then I turn it off. And then I go back to sleep. And then they said, oh, chunking, yeah. Break your tasks up into chunks so you can do it one small piece at a time. And it'll be easier and it won't overwhelm you. You know what I did? I chunked, alright. I fucking chunked. The chunking was so effective in not overwhelming me that I was like, oh, it's so easy now that I can just do it later altogether. And then they were like, oh, okay, so if you can't wake up early, then maybe you're a night owl and can still get work done throughout the night. You just need to find your ideal time to get into flow state of productivity and fuck shit. And you know what? Okay, I'll be honest. This one actually worked. It did get me into flow state of productivity. Just, of looking at memes all fucking night till the sun comes up and not of any actual meaningful work. But I'll admit that one is probably on me. Yeah. In my defense though, it's just the silence and the solitude and the no fucking uncles or babies constantly yelling in the background. And the absolute calm that accompanies the nighttime. It's just unparalleled. And it's the perfect setting for undisturbed memeaging and... Anyway. Moving on. This next one's my favorite actually. They were like, oh, you're procrastinating because you're a perfectionist and it's just starting anxiety. And I'm like, you know what? If I were dumber, I would probably believe you. But I just don't buy that anymore. Simply because that sounds exactly like the kind of excuse that I would come up with to not do something. Like, I want to get it perfect, yeah, so I'll just start tomorrow when I'm in a better state of mind. Like, okay, bitch, sell stupid somewhere else. The point, however, is that despite all of this, I am not lazy. I'm really not. I know I'm fucking intelligent and capable and hardworking. The only catch is, it's never on my own terms. And it's never for me. It's always for other people. It's always on terms dictated by other people, tasks dictated by other people, and deadlines dictated by other people. I never do things for myself. Or I never do the things that I want to do for myself. So, who am I then? Like, if I can or will do things only for other people and never for myself? Like, am I just a fucking drone then? Am I the ideal underling because I'm passive and roll over and do as I'm told when I'm told and exactly as I'm told just because someone asked me to? Or rather, only because someone asked me to? That's not what I want to do. Like, that's not what I want to be. I mean, man, I just want to be what I want to be. B-A-R-I-E. Like, I do these things for other people. Because they want me to, yeah? Because they have explicitly asked me to, like for educational requirements or a job or whatever. It's not like these things make me happy or they're fucking helpful in personal development or reaching my personal goals or anything. So what about the things that I want to do? When do I do those things? Like, when do I start doing things for myself because I want to and not simply because someone else asked me to? Like, I don't want to be turning 50 and still crying the night of my birthday, thinking of how sad and empty my life is. I mean, not that it's even about the age. Like, I don't care if I'm older or younger or dying. I care about actually living now. And I'm just constantly lying around and passively waiting for things to happen. And ironically, things are happening. It's just that I'm still waiting around and now I'm getting left behind because everyone else is living and moving forward and I'm still at a standstill. And this is part of why I'm screaming into the void about how I'm feeling right now, because I have bitched and complained and whined to all of my friends and anyone else passing by who is willing to listen, but they don't give a fuck about me or my bullshit because they've got their own lives and they're actually living it while I'm just waiting on the sidelines. It's like, they've picked up and gone ahead and I'm on the outside looking in. And it makes me really angry at myself, mostly. Like, I see these other people, so many who have come and gone, who are living out parts of my life that I'd imagined for myself, which now feel like they're restricted to me. Like, it was a passing dream or a past life. Like, oh, that should have been me, but now it never will. And all I'm left is this crippling sense of loss and feeling like maybe I'm not enough. So in true Shakespearean fashion, do I mourn the death of a life that never was, or moan that I am killing another dream right now, killing another life that could be mine by sitting around and waiting? Wow, that was unnecessarily intense, but it doesn't take away from the message, which is that I am so fucking tired of just passively floating along, doing nothing, saying nothing, and eventually being nothing. And I'm angry every day, but somehow it's still not enough. It's like I've become so comfortable laying in this filth that I can't imagine life otherwise. It's like that shit Seligman was spouting about learned helplessness after abusing those poor dogs. Same parallels, I think. And yeah, I guess that's why those so-called dreams now feel like distant fantasies. Like something from a story or a borrowed thought from someone else. Like they were never mine to begin with, or were never meant to be more than just dreams. So, have I just been lying to myself this whole time?